Something huge is going down in Georgia, and it's all about the 2020 election. Federal authorities have just moved in, executing a search warrant that many have been waiting for. This, right here, is a brand new chapter in a story that's been years in the making. So what exactly happened? Well, federal authorities just conducted a major court-authorized operation at a key election facility in Fulton County, Georgia. This wasn't a random spot check. This was a targeted move right at the heart of the state's election machine. Mark the state down. Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. That's the day the FBI finally executed its search warrant. Believe me, this specific moment signals a massive development we've all been watching for. And the target? A massive 600,000 square foot facility in Union City. You gotta understand, this isn't just some warehouse. This is the building that houses the county's entire core election infrastructure. It's the nerve center. Now let's get to what they seized, because the scale of this operation is absolutely historic. Agents were sent in to get their hands on critical records that have been the focus of intense public concern for more than 5 years. 700. That's the number you need to remember. Federal agents secured an estimated 700 boxes filled with the original physical ballots from the 2020 election. We're talking a massive haul of the actual primary evidence. And they didn't stop with the physical ballots. No way. They also targeted the tabulator tapes, the electronic ballot images, and the complete voter rolls. This was a comprehensive sweep of pretty much all the key election materials. For years, 5 long years, all of these materials were locked away, hidden behind a court-ordered seal, totally inaccessible. But that's over now. They're officially in federal hands, and that paves the way for a real, full investigation. And if you had any doubt about how serious this mission was, just look at who was on site. This operation had direct oversight from some of the most senior officials in the entire U.S. government. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was reportedly on site during the operation, and right alongside her, FBI Deputy Director Andrew Bailey was also seen. When you have people at this level showing up, you know it's a top national priority. Now, you can't just conduct an operation this big without a rock-solid legal foundation. So let's walk through the legal pathway that made all of this possible. The legal authority here is crystal clear. First, the warrant was signed by U.S. Magistrate Judge Catherine Salinas. Second, the entire investigation is being led by U.S. Attorney Thomas Elbis. And third, the whole legal basis is focused on potential violations of a specific federal law. So what is that law? It's Title 52 of the United States Code. And in plain English, this law is all about federal elections. It specifically deals with making sure election records are properly kept and, crucially, preventing fraudulent ballot counting. To really understand why this 2026 raid is so significant, you have to connect the dots. You have to go all the way back to the serious, long-standing questions that came out of the 2020 election. This whole thing really goes back to the early morning of November 4th, 2020. Remember the reports about after-hours ballot handling at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta? Well, for over 5 years, the records from that night stayed under seal, and now finally, they've been seized. So what does this all mean? This federal action in Fulton County is being described as a pivotal turning point, and for good reason. The message here is that the era of unanswered questions might finally be over. Commentators are calling it exactly what it is. One analyst called it a long overdue victory for transparency, and they're pointing out that this raid confirms the president's steadfast, unwavering position on election integrity, a promise made, a promise kept. So, with these records now in federal hands and under a microscope, this investigation is setting the stage for what many believe will be a series of historic accountability measures. This is a fundamental shift. And that brings us to the final, most important question. After years of fighting, of speculation, of waiting, the sealed records are now open. What happens when the truth is finally brought to light? The answer to that question is going to change everything.